Hello everyone, I'm teacher Winnie. Today we will cover on this Physics SPM Trial 2022 for Kedah paper 1. Okay, so the first questions, diagram 1 shows a ruler and inch is an example of, okay, so if you look at your textbook, actually they introduce your different type of this unit system. Okay, in general, this cm is also called matrix system, while this inch is actually one of the example of imperial unit. And we are more commonly use this SI unit in the field of science. This SI unit is international recognized, which means normally they will standardize those unit, right? So when you learn about physical quantity, they can classify as base and also this derived quantity. And those of the unit, we always will change it to SI unit, standard unit. Okay, so you see a centimeter is a metric, all right? SI unit is basically meter lah, in terms of length. Okay, therefore, inch based on the option, you have this few SI unit, metric unit, Chinese unit, imperial unit. So of course, the answer is D. Okay, so for you to get to know more regarding imperial unit. Okay, so what is actually imperial system? Is actually an old British system of measuring unit, including inch, foot, yard, mile, ounce, pound, gill, pins, and also gallon, right? So these are some example of conversion. Yeah. Next, diagram 2 shows movement of a car from stationary for the first 5 seconds. Which statement is true to describe the movement of car? Okay, so as you can see from O to A, it using 20 meter, then followed by A to B, B to C. All their distance is basically the same, 20 meter. And what about the time interval, the change in time? They also will use 1 second to reach to the next point, correct? Every 1 second. That's why from 0, increase to 1, increase to 2, increase to 3, increase to 4, increase to 5. Now, so basically, this idea is what we call it as constant velocity. Okay, what is velocity? Velocity is actually displacement per unit time. So you see, if I were to use the calculate the velocity on the beginning point OA, then what is my distance? My distance is 20 meter. My time is, the time interval, the change in time is 1 second. So it's supposed to be 20 meter per second. Now, what if teacher take the velocity on other part? Example, so let's say you have this BE. So if it is BE, that means your time taken will be over this lah. Okay, so what should be your total distance now? 60 meter, correct? And then what is your total time? 5 minus 2, your time is 3 seconds. So by right, you still get 20 meters per second. So what does it mean for this whole motion or movement? Is basically they are constant velocity. Okay, if the velocity is constant, that means do you have change in velocity? No. If there is no change in velocity, by right, you shouldn't have acceleration, because acceleration is what? A equals to V minus U over T. So your initial velocity, final velocity is same. 20 minus 20. So you by right get 0. So there shouldn't be any acceleration. So if you look at the option, A and B confirm is wrong, because they are mentioned about the idea of acceleration. Okay, because they're supposed to be 0. But if you look at C and D also, there will be no option at all, because they say a velocity of AD is greater than DE. So like I show you the way how you calculate the velocity, you have to take the total distance and then divide by total time. So basically for this question, there is no answer. Your answer should be what? Constant velocity. You can say OA, the velocity of OA is the same as the velocity of DE. The velocity of AD is the same as the velocity of DE. So no answer these questions. moving on is on this motion graph. Diagram 3 show the accelerations against time graph of an object. Which part of the graph show the object move with constant velocity? Now, of course, this is acceleration time graph. Okay, so for acceleration time graph, if you see horizontal line, what does this horizontal line mean? Okay, if this line is in horizontal, which means the acceleration is constant, the quantity on the y-axis, okay, A is constant. This is also A is constant. While this part, there will be any acceleration, you are reaching 0, right? So it's 0, okay, acceleration. Okay, now, of course, this is negative, this is positive, okay? So they say which part is constant velocity. So again, you need to know what is meant by constant velocity. Constant velocity, the idea is just you jogging, right? Normally, you won't purposely increase your speed or decrease your speed, right? You always will constantly move at the same pace, the general idea. So if it is constant velocity, that means that will have zero acceleration. That means the object is not getting faster. Okay, so hence from the option is PQ, the answer no, because the moment you have constant acceleration means the object either they move and increasing velocity or decreasing velocity. Okay, now for negative acceleration, they have two meaning lah. Okay, the negative itself, it can be the meaning of opposite direction, or the object is encounter deceleration. Okay, but now we want constant velocity. So that's why PQ is not the option. QR, this is the instant point, also nothing. RS is also wrong. So the answer is TU. Okay, moving on, we have questions 4. Diagram 4 shows the astronaut who was in the spacecraft at the International Space Station, and they are in a state without the force of gravity. Only a special inertial balance can be used to measure his body. What is the physical quantity can be used to determine the mass of the astronaut? Okay, so how does the this inertial balance work? So basically, when you have some object weight exerted, right, on this inertial balance, they will basically oscillate, or they will move up and down, move up and down. So because of this idea, basically you can find the period of oscillation. Okay, that means how long you take to complete one cycle period of oscillation. And through the idea of this, you can get the idea of this period, you can get the mass of the astronaut. Okay, so we look at the options. You have number of oscillations, so this is not the answer. Period of oscillation, yes. Amplitude also not related. Displacement is also not related. Okay, so the answer is B. Next, diagram 5 show a hovercraft carrying tourists roaming around a swamp area, and the hovercraft move with a high speed. So the hovercraft movement can be explained by, okay, so as you can see, there is a big fan over this part, big fan. So what is the function of this fan? So the fan will actually blow the air out from the back part. So this air will actually create a backward momentum. Backwards momentum. So based on principle of conservation of momentum, this backward momentum will move backward, will cause a forward momentum, which have same magnitude but opposite direction. So this is actually the concept of principle of conservation of momentum. So nothing to do with principle of conservation of energy. Okay, and Newton's first law is about inertia, and second law is F equals to ma. Number 6, diagram 6 show a swimming athlete pressing a starting block to start a race to increase the change of momentum. So what is change of momentum. So change of momentum is basically mv minus mu. And this mv minus mu is also referred to impulse or impulse, change in momentum. Or sometimes impulse also can be defined as the product of force and time. Or yeah, if it is impulsive force, what is impulsive force? Impulsive force is rate of change of momentum. So other than mv minus mu, right, you must have the time. So this is impulsive force. Okay, and pressure is force per unit area, power is rate of energy dissipated, so not related. Okay, next. Diagram 7 show an object of mass 2 kg is released from a height and the object falls with an acceleration A. What is the acceleration if the object is replaced with another object of 4 kg? So now the mass already increasing. Do you think any changes in the acceleration? So this is under the idea of free fall. So if there is no frictional force or the object is fall due to gravity only, the weight itself, okay, therefore they will actually fall at the same acceleration regardless of their mass. Okay, so the answer is C here. The acceleration remain unchanged. Okay, acceleration is not depends on mass. So that's why they will fall at the same acceleration. We call this acceleration as acceleration due to gravity, G 9.81. Okay, unless the object encounter air resistance, like you actually throw a piece of paper which is have big surface area, and then you crumple a piece of paper. Okay, but because this paper encounter air resistance, now you have it in the air, right? Then this paper will actually fall slower. But if you do this activity in vacuum, right, they actually will fall at the same time. Same like if you throw a feather and a stone in the vacuum, they will fall at the same time. Question 8. Read the statement below. The square of the orbital period of any planet is directly proportional to the cube of the radius of its orbit, t square, directly proportional to r cubed. Okay, so basically this is regarding Kepler's third law. Okay, what is first law? First law is talking about the shape of the orbits is in the elliptical shape, not a circle, right? Any planet that orbit, example, this is sun. So it will orbit in an elliptical shape, okay, where sun at one of the foci. And then Kepler's second law is basically related to equal area, equal time concept. And C is the relationship. That means if you have different planet, like this one example, you have one planet, right? Another planet is also orbiting the sun. So if they are getting further from the sun, they will also take longer time. That's why this relationship is directly proportional. Okay, next one. The Earth and Venus orbit around the sun. What is the orbital period of Venus, giving you the radius of orbit of Earth is 1.5 times 10 power 11 meter. Period of orbit of Earth, 365 days. And radius of orbit of Venus, 1.08 times 10 power of 11. Of course, first, you need to know what formula that you're supposed to be applied. Okay, now, so this is regarding Kepler, third law, where they're talking about what? T square is directly proportional to R cube. Hence, you can have the relationship whereby T1 square over T2 square equals to R1 cube over R2 cube concept. Okay, so based on this, you can because teacher want to find the period of this Venus. Okay, since they already use those symbol, right? R got E here. So instead of using 1 and 2, you can change the symbol slightly, so easy for you to sub the value inside. So I can assume Earth, everything is E, right? This one they should put a little E there lah. And then Venus is everything V lah. Okay, now if you do not want to have a lot of shift in the formula, right? Since I want to find the period, so I can put V on top like that, and then E below. Okay, if my left side everything on top is Venus, R is also same, then this one will be Earth. Okay, since you have all this, okay, do you have RV? Yes, you have RV. Do you have RE? Yes, also. Do you have TE? Yes, also. So can you find TB? Yes, so we're going to sub inside lah. TB square equals to what? RV. RV is 1.08 times 10 power of 11 over RE, okay? 1.5 times 10 power of 11. Now, because these two together, they have to cube it also. I can bracket and make it like that, cube. Okay, then next thing, teacher want to bring this TE. What means I want to eliminate on the left-hand side. Okay, so what I do, I actually times both sides with this quantity. Okay, therefore, I will have TE square over here, but this side cancel out already, but I can straight away sub the value lah, easy. Yeah, so now I put TE. TE is how much? 365 days, okay, and then square. Now for this formula, you don't need to change all those quantity into SI unit, because by right SI unit of time is what? Second. Because if they are in the ratio idea, means they have both quantity lah, or like TV and TE. So what you do is you don't need to change the unit, but at the end your answer should have the same unit as this TE as well lah for the Venus period. Okay, then you press calculator. Okay, see what do you get for this whole part. Okay, every time you see teacher put bracket, that means you have to do the same thing. Similarly, if let's say your calculator do not have those fraction form one, right? Okay, you can basically press this number 1.0 times 10 power 11, then you divide, right? You put bracket, you have to put bracket, or else you may have the mistake one. You slowly solve part by part. If let's say you're not really good in maths, or you don't like to press the number that are too big, right? You do this, okay? Okay, then you cube it, shift x square, then you time with 365 square. Okay, so you're supposed to get 49,725.96 about. But then again, this is not the final answer here, because here is t square. So what do you get? If you want the period only, you square root of the answer. Then you'll get 222.99. So which is about 223 days. 223 days. Yeah. For these type of questions in under this topic, you always must try to press calculator, do together, or you cannot, I know this is the formula, because most of the time, formula is not enough. You need to try to apply, use your calculator. If not, you may actually press wrongly when you do the factorization, substitution, all this, you may make mistake, okay? Question 10. Thermal equilibrium occurs when? So first you need to know what is the meaning of thermal equilibrium lah, right? Thermal equilibrium means when you have two objects which have different temperature in contact, like a cold object and a hot object, when they are in contact. Then there is a transfer of heat, the hot object will transfer heat. Okay, so when they reach the same temperature, which means the net flow of heat is 0. the hot object will transfer same amount of heat to cold object will transfer the same amount of heat to the hot object. Okay, so this is the meaning of thermal equilibrium. Okay, so we see no heat is transferred between two objects in thermal contact. Not really correct. There is heat, it's just that the amount of heat is equal. Okay, no net heat transfer. Do you see the difference between A and B is because of this term? Yes, this is correct. Between two objects in thermal contact is 0. A simple idea is like you transfer 10 joule, this one also another 10 joule, but the direction is opposite. So that's why the net is 0. Then the net heat transfer between two objects in thermal contact is equal. No, the amount of heat transfer is equal, not the net. And then the net transfer is minimum, also cannot. Okay, so the answer is B. What is thermal equilibrium? The net heat transfer between two objects in thermal contact is 0. Okay, these questions now under specific capacity. A field produce 4 kilojoule of energy for every 0.002 kilogram of its combustion. If this field is used to heat a liquid of mass 5 kilogram with a temperature 40 to 90 degrees Celsius, what is the mass of field required? Okay, and the specific capacity of those liquid is 5 times 10 power 3 joule per kilogram per degree Celsius. Okay, so in order for you to calculate for this question, basically you need to find out what is the amount of energy needed to heat up the 5 kg of liquid from 40 degrees Celsius to 90 degrees Celsius. So we will find the total energy needed first. So you have Q equals to MC theta, where M is the mass, C is the specific capacity. Then this theta is referred to change in temperature. That's why sometimes you see they put a triangle there. The triangle means the change. So now we sub 5 times 5 times 10 power 3. And then the change in temperature, 90 minus 40. You can straight write 50 also like if you want. Yeah. Then again, you press calculator 5 times. So you supposedly get 125.12340 joule. Okay, so this is the amount of energy needed. Okay, then next, you need to know how much is the mass, correct? So they say 4,000 joule is equivalent to 0.002 kg. Okay, so it's like you can do like the idea, okay, if 0.002, then the energy used, the fuel use 4,000 joule. Kilo means 1,000 or 10 power 3. Okay. So now I want to find the unknown, which is the mass needed, okay, for that much of energy now. 125,000 joule. Okay, so I want to find the mass on top. So I can write therefore M equals to 125,000 over 4,000. This whole thing times 0.002. Yeah, so press calculator. Simplified already. This one is 312.5. So you're supposed to get 0.625 kilogram. Okay. Next one, diagram shows the arrangement of the operators to verify Charles' law. What is the function of sulfuric acid column in the capillary tube? So of course, this question is under gas law, right? So every time teacher say you solve question regarding this gas law, you always focus on this triangle, PVT, and the three sides is referred to the respective law, Guru, Bahasa, China. So C is referred to Charles' law as first, then only apostrophe. So, and G is Gay-Lussac. and B is referred to Boyle's law. Okay, so indeed now they already tell you it is Charles' law. And Charles' law is regarding the idea of volume and temperature. Okay, so of course the Bunsen burner over here is to heat up the liquid and thermometer is to measure the temperature lah. Okay, so what you actually how you carry out this experiment is you actually have this capillary tube. Capillary tube is like there are hollow inside one, the inner part is like straw like that, but this is glassware lah. Okay, so what happened is when you actually place this sulfuric acid inside this region, so when you heat up, what happened is this sulfuric acid will actually shift. So what you do is you basically measure this length of air column, length of air column. And since the diameter of the capillary tube is uniform, they are same. Okay, so if you want to find the volume, you find the area of this cross-sectional area times with the length, you can get the volume idea. So this idea is to calculate the volume or indicate the volume, or sometimes more direct in experiment, you just measure the length will do. So the idea of length is equivalent to the idea of volume. Okay, so A, withstand A pressure, no. Indicate the change in air pressure, no. Okay, because nothing to do with pressure in this case, you heat up. To avoid the air loss, also not correct. Indicate the change in the air trap. So the answer is this D lah. Okay, then we move on to the next questions. Okay, so now this is under Form 4 wave topic already. So diagram 9 show reflections of wave. Which statement is correct about the characteristic of the reflected wave? So teacher always say under this wave topic, you have 4 main phenomenon, and the 3 main, the first 3 phenomenon regarding reflection, refraction, diffractions, they like to ask after those phenomenon, right, what is the changes in a few quantity like frequency, speed, wavelength, and also direction. Okay, so this is all in the intensive note. Teacher always will show all this idea one, right? So frequency change or not? No change. Wavelength change? No change. Speed also no change. So what is the changes? The changes is only direction. So they say which one is correct, so we look at it. So amplitude of wave increases. So under the idea of reflection, we not really focus on the idea of amplitude lah. Amplitude, for your understanding, this is water wave. So if the amplitude decrease, like the object encounter damping, that means this is called amplitude. So normally we wouldn't really involve on the amplitude. But if you really want to get the idea, amplitude normally is like sound wave. When they actually strike on a surface, they will bounce, right? So like echo, you will hear the sound slightly softer. So by right, after a reflection, the amplitude is decreased lah. Now, next, frequency of wave decreases, not correct. Wavelength does not change. Yes, values. Wavelength does not change, correct? And then velocity of wave does not change. Now notice not, teacher right here is speed. Speed and velocity got slight difference. What is velocity? Velocity is what quantity? Vector. Whereas speed is actually scalar quantity. Okay, so even though they say velocity does not change, this is not correct. Why? There is changes because they have change in direction. Speed is scalar, so memang it will remain unchanged. Means the magnitude, the value is the same. It's just that because there is change in direction, so by right velocity is changes. So the answer is C lah. Okay, now this is under the concept of diffractions. Okay, the diagram 10 show water wave move towards an embankment. Okay, so basically when they pass through a gap, the wave will actually spread. When they spread, they become circular. Okay, so when you are required to draw the wave pattern, make sure your wavelength is the same before after. Okay, so which characteristic of wave changes? The one changes one. So same, teacher will always have this chart. Okay, now, so based on what you see over here, similar like reflections, frequency won't change, wavelength won't change, speed no change. They only change direction and amplitude. Okay, so we see the option, the one that changes. So do you have direction, amplitude? Yes. So the answer is B. So there shouldn't change for this three quantity. Now, this question is under the concept of interference of wave. Diagram 11 shows the arrangement of an apparatus to investigate the interference light wave. Which graph show the correct relationship between D and X? Okay, so what is the capital D refer to? Capital D is actually the distance from the light source to the screen. And then this X is actually the distance between two consecutive bright fringes or dark fringes. So of course, under interference of wave, we always will focus on this formula. Lambda equals what? AX over D. So now they want you to investigate the relationship between X and D. So you make one of the quantity as subject lah. So let's say teacher make X subject. So you rearrange the formula. You have what? Lambda D equals to A, right? Sorry, lambda D over A. Now you see what is the relationship between X and D. They are on top, right? That means they are directly proportional, provided what? Your wavelength and A is a constant value lah. Lambda and A is constant. Okay, so memang they will be directly. So you see which shape show directly proportional A. This one is increasing. This one is decreasing linearly. And this one also decreases. Okay, so that's why the answer is A. Okay, next, this is under electromagnetic wave. Diagram 12 shows an electromagnetic spectrum. So what is wave Q? Okay, so you need to know all the 7 M wave lah. So normally I will ask student to listen to a song, or you can find in the YouTube. So you listen to the chorus part, then you will actually automatically remember the rhythm and also the 7 wave. We start at what? Radio wave, microwave, infrared, microwave, then visible light, ultraviolet, X-ray, and gamma ray. Okay. So now teacher already show all the 7 wave lah. So you may have your acronym, all these. Okay. So as long as you remember, then you can answer this. This is a very basic questions. So now they want Q, right? So Q is what? Infrared. Next one. Diagram 13 show a light ray propagate in a glass block JKLM. Total internal reflections occur at X. So what is the condition for total internal reflections to occur? Okay, so they have 2 criteria. One is the ray must travel from denser medium to less than medium. Then next, your incident angle must more than critical angle. So we look at the option. Incident angle more than refracted angle. No. Refracted angle more than incident angle. No. Incident angle more than critical angle. Yes. And this refracted angle less, also not correct. Then this is under the lens, image formation of lens. So diagram 14 show an object placed in front of a concave lens. Which position of the image is formed? Okay, so now of course, you under this light topic, you will learn about lenses, you learn about mirror, right? So always when you want to form or draw the ray diagram, first thing you must have the concept, not like you go and memorize it, because memorize, sometimes you may be confused and terbalik the idea one. So first you need to, if can, you refer this idea, is this lens or is this mirror? There are 2 different things lah. So if it is lens, then of course the ray will refract, refraction occurs. They will pass through the lens and then they will bend one. If it is mirror, then you need to have the mindset, the ray will bounce back, reflect. Okay, then next important idea is, will the ray converge or diverge after the phenomenon? So basically, concave lens and convex mirror, the ray strike already after the phenomenon, they will actually diverge. So simple idea. What is meant by diverge is you ray strike, right? They will actually diverge. Okay. So but they will need a reference point lah. You see, the reference point is the focus point. So that means the ray will memang like outwards, not a focus. Yeah, because if you don't understand this idea, you may misunderstand this convex lens will have concave lens will have the same way how you draw for convex lens. Understand? Once you know, you see, I already draw one of the ray. Any ray that parallel to the principal axis, they will appear to be diverged, and they will use this virtual focus point instead of this focus point. Then next rule is they will actually cut through the optical center lah. So I redraw the correct one from object, parallel to principal axis, diverge, and then teacher said you have to do dotted ray. And then another concept is, another rules of construct the ray is, they will cut through optical center. So the intersection point is where the image form. So the answer is B. Because you know the concept correctly, then you can draw lah. Because if it is would to be a convex lens, then the idea is different. That means the ray that strike, they no longer diverge, they will converge. Then they also will cut through optical center. So your image will be on the right-hand side. So that's why the concept is important. If not, you may draw correct ray, but then for the wrong lens or the idea of mirror like that. Okay, next. Diagram 15 show an image form where an object placed 6 cm in front of a convex lens. Height of the object and the image is 3 cm and 12 cm respectively. What is the distance between object and image? P image. So they want the distance memang show in the diagram lah. Okay, so what is given to you is they give you the object distance. So you need to know where is object distance. Your object distance is where we have the symbol U, and it is how many cm? 6 cm. Okay, now basically P is refer to the total distance between object distance and image distance. Image distance is over here. Okay, so P is actually U plus V lah. Okay, so for you to get the answer, you have to find out what is your image distance. Okay, other than U, they also give you the height of object, height of image, but they didn't give you the focal length, so you cannot use the lens formula, but you can use the magnification formula. Magnification formula is height of image over height of object, or it can be image distance over object distance. So now I can find the V because I have all the three quantity. Yeah, so this is what formula? Magnification. So therefore, V equals to height of image, how much? 12 over 3, and then I multiply with the object distance. So I actually get how much? 24 for V, but it's not the answer. Why? Because I want to find P. P is 6 plus 24, and hence you get the answer as A for this question 19. Next, 21. Which of the following have the largest acceleration? Okay, so of course, for this question, you need to know the general concept about Newton's second law of motion, whereby the resultant force is equivalent to the product of mass and acceleration. And the relationship between the force, net force, and the acceleration is directly proportional. That means the more force you apply, the object will accelerate greater lah. And force is a vector. quantity. So direction is important. So what you do with this question is you find out what is their net force. So if they have the greater net force, of course, they will have the highest acceleration. So for A, what is your net force? Your net force is 18 Newton towards where? Left side. This one. Now, they are opposite direction also. Normally, I would tell students you denote the bigger force with positive direction and then the smaller force with negative. So you add up, you will get 20, right? And it's still toward left side lah. This one, memang the only force is 15. The 15 is the net force. So it's 15 Newton toward right side. This one is 17 toward right side as well. So among all the four options, which one have the highest net force? B. So the answer is B lah. Okay. Next, diagram 17 show a stationary object with weight 150 Newton hang on the wall with two ropes possessing tension T1, T2 respectively. They want you to calculate T1. Now, for this type of question, there is a lot of method for you to solve it lah. So teacher will use the one you can calculate. You can also use scale drawing. Okay, so what you do is you need to know all the force that act on this object first. You have T1, T2, and you also have what? The weight itself, W. Okay, so T1 is this way, and then T2 is horizontal toward right hand side. Okay, so what you can do with all these three forces, you can rearrange them into a triangle of forces. Okay, so if teacher were to rearrange, I will rearrange in this way. Yeah, okay, and basically the 40° is located over here. And so now when you are in a right angle triangle, okay, so you can find the relationship between T1 and weight, okay, with this angle using trigonometry. Agree, teachers? So by right, this T2, so this is the angle. So this is what we call it adjacent, correct? And then this is what? Opposite. This is actually T1 is hypotenuse. So teacher say, I want to link who? I want to link the angle. I want to link the weight and T1. Why I don't link with T2? Because I do not have T2 as well. But do you have weight? Yes, you have weight. You have this value, ma. Yeah. So I want to find T1, one unknown only, ma. So since you have OH, that means you use which function? So katua. So for these questions, you will use right, opposite, and hypotenuse, ma. Right. So that means sine for D equals to what? W over T1. Of course, teacher want to find T1 over here. So T1, change the position. So your weight is basically 150. Then you divide by sine for D. Then you press calculator. So you're supposed to get 233.36 Newton. Yeah, so this is how you all solve the questions. And for your information, if you look at the triangle that you rearrange, right, they are in the same direction, which means there is no net force acting on the system, and the object is in the equilibrium state. Okay, next is under elasticity for chapter 1 in Form 5. Which factor does not affect the stiffness of the spring? We always relate the stiffness of spring with what? Spring constant. We always relate it with spring constant, K. So, and what is this spring constant? The spring constant is the force exerted per unit extension. That means, if you actually extend less, the spring constant will be high. Or another term, the spring is very hard, hard to stretch or hard to compress. So generally there are 4 factors lah, which is length, diameter, thickness of spring, but nothing to do with the position of spring. Position of spring means initially where you place your spring. place on the higher point or low point, nothing one ma. We want to but then if your spring is thick, means like this, and also thin, this is called thickness of spring. Diameter of spring is referred to this idea. This is small diameter, this is big diameter, and also this initial length, long spring or short spring. Yeah, so the answer is D. Diagram 18 shows a mercury barometer to measure the atmospheric measured. So atmospheric pressure is represented by, okay, so this instrument is called barometer. And how does you construct a barometer is you have a long tube, and then with a beaker of mercury, what you do is initially you fill up this long tube with mercury, and then very quick you invert and put inside this beaker of mercury, and then you wait a while. Basically, the liquid will either raise or descend until one point they will stop. Once they stop, right, you measure this length. This length is actually represent the atmospheric pressure, provided this space is vacuum lah. If there is a gas, then they still not really represent atmospheric pressure yet. So hence your answer is B lah. Next, when the trapped gas in a cylinder is compressed, which quantity will changes? Okay, this question also related not only gas idea, they also related a bit of Form 4 on the concept of gas flow. So imagine this is a container, and then you actually have the piston like that lah, So you have to imagine, I actually compress. So when you try to compress, the amount of the gas particles supposedly still equal, correct? But what is changes is actually the distance, right? Yeah, the distance is getting shorter, okay? But they will actually collide with more frequency, correct? Will collide more. So when this happens, that means you increase the pressure itself, or you increase the pressure. Now, you change the mass? No, because you still have same number of gas particle. Okay, kinetic energy also not involved. We already relate the idea of kinetic energy with what? We relate it with temperature. The moment you heat up, then the particle will move faster. Now I didn't heat up. There is no term that talking about you increase temperature. Then regarding the density, so what is the idea of density? Density is mass per unit volume. So in this context, you have changes in the volume, right? Your volume is smaller. So by right, it's supposed to be higher density. So that's why the two quantities that involved is pressure and density. Okay, now from 5, chapter 2 on the topic of Archimedes' principle. So diagram 19 shows a hot air balloon floating at constant height. Which statement is true? Okay, so the keyword is this one, constant height. What does constant height means? That means you no change in the position. Therefore, as you know, the force acting on the hot air balloon, you have weight. You also have the buoyant force, and they're supposed to be equal lah, because the net force is 0. If they are moving upward or they are descend, then they will not at constant height one. Okay, so therefore you have buoyant force equals to the weight of the balloon. Okay, less and more also cannot accept, so the answer is A. Diagram 20 show a movement is blowing air in between the space, between the two balloons. She found that the balloon moved closer to each other. Okay, so the moment blow air over this point. Okay, so the ball actually moved closer. So why this happened is because when the woman blow the air, right? What happened to the speed in between the ball? That means the speed compared to the sideway is higher. Okay, then the pressure is basically lower one. So this is from Bernoulli principle. Now, if compared to the sideway, that means the balloon, the sideway of the balloon, the speed is lower lah, because there's no airflow ma. So pressure become higher. Okay, then it will cause the balloon to move closer, because there is a difference in force. Yeah, so this is called Bernoulli principle. Bernoulli principle state that what, when the velocity of the fluid increases, pressure is decreases, or vice versa. Okay, then under electricity topic, what is the meaning of potential difference? Potential difference between 2 points in an electric field is what? Okay, so the general formula to define potential difference is work done per unit charge. Yeah, so they must start with the work done. The work done to move what? 1 coulomb of charge, 1 coulomb, not 1 unit. Okay, so 1 coulomb of charge memang boleh lah. So memang B and D is not correct. And if it is potential difference, then as long as they are between 2 points, then this is the correct idea already. Now, it is for complete circuit, then it will refer to the electromotive force, and a slightly different idea with potential difference. This electromotive force is the energy in the battery, any power source. Yeah. 29. Diagram 21 show the arrangement of the apparatus used to study the relationship between length of wire and resistance of wire. And the experimental result found that the resistance value was low. So which statement is true about experiment? Okay, so for these questions now, they say the resistance is low. Okay, now we have the idea of V equals to IR. If the current flow is constant, the relationship between the potential difference and these are they are directly proportional. Yeah. So if you want to have low resistance, how do you adjust the length? What is the relationship between length and resistance? Length and resistance, they are directly proportional. So which means your length have to be shorter, then only you have low resistance. When your resistance is low, that means your potential difference is low. Okay, so hence which option have both answer? Yeah, they have to be short, and then they have to be low. So the answer is D lah. Okay, of course, B is correct relationship, but then not according to the result. We want now low. Yeah, but the other two option is wrong lah. Number 30, diagram 22 shows a circuit that can be used to determine the electromotive force and internal resistance of a dry cell. Which of the following potential difference against current graph is used to determine the value of this EMF and internal resistance of the dry cell? Okay, so the result that obtained for this experiment, first you need to really be careful one. Now we are placing our voltmeter across what? Across battery. Is you are not like placing this voltmeter across a conductor or resistor lah over here. Also, we are not doing that. Understand? So indeed, you will get a result of graph of decreases linearly. We decreases linearly with current. And from this graph, you can find two quantity where this y-intercept is referred to EMF. And if you calculate the gradient is equivalent to negative internal resistance. If you get the graph for A, that one is for Ohm's law. That means you connect the voltmeter across a conductor. So don't confuse lah. There are two different type of experiment under this chapter. Diagram 23 show a rice cooker labeled 240 volt, 700 watt, A mother used the rice cooker for 30 minutes to cook rice, and the cost of electrical energy consumption depends on. Okay, so of course, you need to know the formula for energy consumption. Generally, energy consumption are affected by these two quantity, which is power and also time. The more time you use, of course, you will consume more energy, but right, you on your aircon for 10 hours compared to 1 hour. Then also the power rating of the device, okay, higher power that need more watts, right? They also use more energy. Okay, so we see the option, the brand use not necessary. Number of electrical equipment in house. You have more equipment, but if they are all small powers, still not really consume a lot of energy, one understand? So it's still not so clear. The more energy consumption, correct? Size, lagi not related lah. Doesn't mean you have big size, then you use more electricity. One mother, depend on very specific quantity one, right? So that's why the amount of energy consumed is the best answer lah. Okay, then next question is under this electromagnetism. Okay, so which factor does not affect the rotation of the coil? Now, since this setup have battery, so that means this is under the topic on 4.1, the force on a current carrying conductor. Yeah, so basically what will make this coil rotate more is, you see, you have the magnet, so the strength, stronger strength. Then you have what? The battery will actually supply the current, right? See negative. So whether it's more current or low current. And also one more factor is basically the number of turns. So of course, when we teach you, we always like just show you one coil. So in reality, there will be a lot of coil. Okay, so you have more thing. So amount of current, correct. Number of turn is the factor affecting. Okay, and also strength. But polarity means this north becomes south, south become north. This is what it means. They won't change the speed one. They only change the direction of rotation. By right, you're supposed to, example, rotate clockwise, then they become anti-clockwise. Understand? So the answer for this question, not affect the rotation, will be magnetic pole. Okay, next questions. What is represented by forefinger in Fleming left hand's rule? So you punya left hand's rule. Okay, I try to sketch out. And this is your thumb. And this is your two little finger. This is your hand. Okay, so we always will have this general idea, FBI, FBI. And basically, these four fingers is this is the forefinger. So F is refer to the idea of force. B is actually the symbol for magnetic field, magnetic field. Okay, and I is always last standard the symbol for current, correct? Okay, so we see which is the idea on this direction of magnetic field. So the answer is D lah. 34, diagram 25 shows an ideal transformer and the bulb light up with normal brightness. What is the current flow in the primary coil? Okay, for these questions, you will apply the idea on this number of turn and also the, okay, wait, you need to apply the idea of the power also. Again, they give you some important keyword, which is this one, ideal. If the transformer is ideal, that means there is no energy loss. If there is no energy loss, that means your input power should be equals to your output power. They are 100% efficiency. 100% efficiency. So your input power equals to output power. So they have give you secondary voltage, primary voltage. This one is output power lah. Okay, they want the current in input. Also, we actually use this 48. Okay, and formula for power, you have a few. One of it is very common one. We always say VIP, VIP, P. So they are input primary voltage multiplied with input voltage. You will actually have the output. So your input voltage is 240 IP is what I want to find the current in the primary coil, and then your output power is 48. So IP is equals to 48 divided by 240, then you will get the answer, which is 0.2. Diagram 26 shows a smartphone connected to an alternating current power supply at home. However, the smartphone can only be charged with direct current. So the device used in the smartphone so that it can be charged is, now, because under these questions, there are idea of electronics. So electronic have a lot of component, right? You have capacitor, transistor, diode. So of course, you need to understand the questions carefully. So the concept behind is, how can you change an AC to DC, right? All this process is called rectification. So remember, if you want to change AC to DC, you must have what? The component where we call it as diode. All symbol look like this, okay? They allow current to flow in one directions only, and then you have all bias, real bias concept, yes. So that's why the answer here is actually A. Now, a function of transformer is to change the voltage. If let's say they say, your smartphone only use 6 volt instead of 240 volts, so what you need, then you say you use transformer. Okay, and capacitor is help to smooth out the current because under the rectification process, like halfway, right, you have the moment where zero current flow. Okay, so with the help of capacity is like causing the current to smooth out. That means it becomes a straight line instead of you have the zero moment. And then transistor, they have other function they can use as current amplifier or as an automatic switch. Next, 36. A small increase in the base current will cause a big change in the collector current. So the above statement show the function of transistor as what? Okay, so transistor have two functions. Our teacher say already as what? Current amplifier, or they act as automatic switch. So for this context, it is the idea of current amplifier or the symbol is what? IC over IB. Okay, the collector current divided by base current. So your answer is C. Okay, now this question is under nuclear physics on the radioactive decay. Diagram 27 show a graph of radioactive decay sample. What is the activity and time taken after two half-life? So that means your initial activity is how much? 1,000. Half of it become what? 5. The first half-life causing it to become 500. Then the next half-life is 250. So at the end, we want to know how long does it take. Okay, so the activity for count per minutes will be 250. This means this 500 is wrong. Okay, so from the graph, where is the location of 250? Yeah, so you need to do interpolation. Okay, so in between 200 and 400 is 300. In between 300 and 200 is 250. So this is the location now. Yeah, so you draw the horizontal line and then vertical line. Okay, so number 10 is here, and then this is 15. In between them have 5 boxes. So 1 boxes is 1. So this point is 12. So the answer is D. Okay, now this question is under nuclear energy. So in the nuclear reaction, nuclear energy can be calculated by using the Einstein equation, E equals to mc square, where E is referred to the energy, while C is speed of light, and M is actually called the mass defect. So how can you calculate the mass defect? The mass defect is you have the equation before reactions, right? Those masses you added up, you minus those mass after reaction, you'll notice they will reduce. Why they reduce? Because this mass have changed to energy. Okay, so this M refer to mass defect, A. 39. Okay, now this is under quantum physics, right? So from the Einstein photoelectric equation, you have this HF equals to HF naught plus half mv square for the matter. And what is the symbol of F naught represent? Okay, so for your general concept, okay, this Einstein equation HF is referred to photon energy lah. Photon energy is actually equals to the work function, okay, plus kinetic energy. Yeah, so if photoelectric occurs, that means the object, what means the electron will be emitted from the matter with velocity lah, because they actually have this kinetic energy. Okay, so when you change it into the formula form, this photon energy is HF, where this frequency is the frequency of the light source. For this frequency, F naught is actually referred to the minimum frequency required for the electrons to be emitted up. Okay, so or we can have another name for this frequency is actually called threshold frequency. Threshold frequency. So therefore, the answer is this A, the minimum frequency of light that produce photoelectric effect. Okay, the frequency of photon that produce no, the maximum kinetic. Okay, Planck constant is not correct. Planck constant is the symbol H itself lah. Yeah. Last questions. Diagram 28 shows the metal surface is incident by two light P and Q, which have different wavelength, lambda P and lambda Q. Given that the threshold frequency of the metal is F naught, which statement about this situation is true or is correct regarding so as you can see, when you strike the light P, got electron emitted, yes, that means photoelectric effect occurs. Photoelectric effect occurs. But when you strike, they do not have electron emitted. That means there will be no photoelectric effect lah. Okay, so why they cannot cause the electron to be emitted out? Because this metal itself, they have the minimum frequency where the light frequency can cause it to emit. If your frequency of light FQ if less than threshold, then it won't emit. But this case, your FP is more than F naught. Yes, so that's why it can occur. Okay, so hence very obvious your light source must have high frequency enough. So based on the frequency for FP and FQ, of course FP have to be greater than FQ. So first option is correct. And what is the relationship between frequency and also wavelength? So frequency and wavelength, they are inversely proportional one. Okay, like a red line, they have high with a long wavelength, right? But then frequency will be the low. So again, lambda P should be less than lambda Q. So it's also correct option. And then part 3, like teacher mentioned, your threshold frequency you must more. So FP more than FQ or not? F naught or not? Yes. Okay, but F naught is greater than FQ. It means FQ less than F naught lah. So again, this is also correct. So among all these options, D is the best choice. Okay, hence we actually done with this paper. So I will see you again for other state paper questions. Thank you. Bye-bye.